Back again. So again, I mean, these drives are long. And I get the privilege, the beautiful experience of being able to ride and really kind of like dive deep within myself and heal a lot of things that I've been working on, and really just kind of prepare myself for the next step in my spiritual journey. And I'm using this as an opportunity to not only share a message, but to also be able to remember these things and put them into, integrate them into my own subconscious, my own consciousness, and my own awareness. Because what is happening is like spirit or just coincidence, intuition is communicating with me in a way now that it's like I will naturally channel these next level, these higher level concepts, and I'll notice that it'll kind of push me towards either writing it down or recording it. And when I don't, then later I have a very difficult time recalling it, and almost it's like I will get negative thoughts in an attempt as I attempt to recall it, because spirit's like, no, you didn't listen. And it's kind of like that conditioning, or like that acclimation. I'll call it acclimation as opposed to conditioning. I don't like the word conditioning. Acclimation to hearing that spirit and working with it and taking what it's saying as like the right step and getting it done, as opposed to like having to fight with it later and turn it into something negative, right? And I think that what we experience is, this video is actually going to be about fighting or facing fear when you are experiencing spiritual awakening. But the thought that I was explaining is like, I think that a lot of the time we don't listen to that voice when we should, that internal voice, when we should. And then by the time that we do, it's too late to do the right thing, or what we felt like in that moment would have helped us, or would have been like that the right thing to do. And we get out of alignment with it, and then it becomes a negative thing, because now we have to kind of like retrace our steps to put ourselves in a position to be able to listen to that voice again, right? So it's like you're like this shooting star almost, like you're this thing in process. And every now and then there are these little marks, or these little opportunities to go into orbit around a more positive vibration, and you have to catch it really quickly, because that spirit, that intuition, it's like, here's your opportunity, 3, 2, 1, and then if you miss it, you don't take the opportunity, you keep going the direction you were going, and you miss that opportunity to kind of like slingshot in a different direction, right? So you might be walking down the street or something, and your mind's like, oh look, that person needs help, let me help them. But oh, wait a minute, then all this trauma and all this like negativity is on me, right? Like all that tension is on me, and I don't know if I should step out of my comfort zone and do this thing that my intuition is telling me to do. Okay, I missed it. I'm gonna keep walking, right? And then later, you encounter some opposition where maybe you need help and you're not getting the help you need, or you find it difficult to communicate with somebody, or whatever it is. But that's the manifestation of not listening to that voice when you should have. And so now you're on this other trajectory. You're on this same path that you were on, and it might even verge off a little bit, right? Like it might even diverge, because you didn't take the step that was necessary to go down the right path, or the path of adjustment. So now you got to go down this path and make the long way back around to take that opportunity again, or catch the next opportunity. So, but the main concept in this video is going to be trying to overcome fear, or how to overcome fear when you are experiencing a spiritual awakening. So this is where I find myself in my experience in overcoming these concepts of, should I really be listening to these thoughts, right? Should I really be listening to this progression of self that I know is not necessarily who I've been, but it's so much more aware? And I guess my issue is that it's coming in so clearly that I'm like, wow, has this always been here? And if so, why haven't I been making the right decisions? And I guess I've just come to a place where I am finally in alignment with my true spiritual self. And so now, when I do hear my intuition speak, or I hear spirit, it's easier for me to get in alignment quicker, right? Like when Spirit shows me a sign or like an opportunity to go and to get out of my comfort zone and to do something new, I'm pretty much ready to jump. I'm like, okay, let me go, right? And except for certain things that I'm still struggling with that are just a little too much for me to grasp, and I'm still kind of dealing with some previous programming that's telling me I'm not ready to take that leap, okay? So, a couple things I want to try to break down in this video. It's like, one, if you're having that experience where you are seeing things differently, you're not really enjoying hanging out with the people you used to hang out with, you're not feeling fulfilled in your relationships, maybe even with family members, your job isn't satisfying you, maybe your hobbies aren't satisfying you, maybe where you are in your environment is not satisfying you, right? And you're feeling a call to something else. Or maybe you're feeling like you're having experiences that are out of the ordinary, and you are seeing things in society that trigger you or bother you or even are trying to awaken you to a deeper meaning, and you're fighting it, and you feel like you are apprehensive, resistant. That's normal. That's normal. And it is a battle of coming into alignment with that growth, of acclimation, right? Of gradually getting you to places of understanding, stages of understanding, where you can accept what's happening, where you can accept guidance from the universe and from source without it being an overwhelming experience. But at first it's going to be an overwhelming experience. So it goes back to the balance, to the yin and yang energy, to the dark, the light, the masculine, the feminine, right? Any aspect of duality that you can imagine. So what happens is you go from awareness to unaware, or to resistance. You go from awareness and acceptance, or awareness and understanding, to resistance, to fear, right? Or vice versa. From awareness and understanding to fear, right? And a lack of awareness. When that happens, you kind of get like ping-ponged around, right? You're bouncing from one extreme to the other, okay? So it can be very stressful. It can be disorienting. It can be exhausting. And you can find yourself having all types of physical symptoms, mental symptoms, all types of experiences that make you feel just in an undesired state. Negative, tired, exhausted, depressed, right? Depressed, anxious, worried, fearful, all of these negative emotions. And I'd like to tell you that if you're going and you're trying to seek explanations from modern science, a lot of the times you're probably running into people that are telling you that you have a mental illness, because our society is built again in a system that doesn't really promote spiritual awakening, especially if you're in America or in a very westernized civilization, society. Because spiritual awakening is not conducive to maintaining the system. Spiritual awakening means that you have opened your mind up to your own individuality and divinity, and that you want to go and pursue things that are beneficial for your spiritual growth, as opposed to beneficial for the system that just wants you to continue to indoctrinate other people to be a part of the system so that they can continue to grow, right? If we were all walking in alignment with our spiritual selves and with divinity, and accepting our spiritual awakening, we would walk away from the system. Or we would change the system entirely to an entirely different way of operation that would basically bring our current society to a halt and put us in a situation where we would have to not necessarily start over, but reinvent a lot of things, reestablish ourselves in an entirely different manner, right? So when you go to the system seeking answers for why you want to leave the system or why you don't feel at home with the system's going to tell you there's something wrong with you, right? If you come to me and you say, hey, not me, but if you come to the illusion master, the master of your illusion that's bringing you dissatisfaction, and you say, hey, I am not pleased with this illusion, how do I fix it? They're going to say, you're wrong. The illusion is perfect. The system is perfect. You are flawed. It is you. And the way to fix it is to go back to work. The way to fix it is to take these pills and to go back to work and to be happy, right? And to tell yourself you are happy. Take a drug that numbs you from your natural experience as a human being. Disassociate from what you are experiencing and go back to the system. Stay in the illusion. That's not right. So for instance, let's say that they tell you you're experiencing what I was explaining, a lot of highs and lows, right? Bouncing back and forth from awareness, understanding to fear, and a lack of awareness. So you go to a doctor. The doctor is likely going to say, let's say that they tell you you're bipolar, right? And for whatever reason, you are experiencing a chemical imbalance, and all you need to do is to take some medication and then proceed with your routine as you normally would. And it'll get better over time. Same goes for depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, right? All these things. Because we do not live in a society that promotes or accepts the concept or the possibility that there are aspects to spirituality and higher dimensional awareness that are right here with us every day, always. And that certain people, because of experiences in their lives, become attuned to those frequencies of those higher dimensional experiences. And things around here in the normal reality that we face every day start to not look so appeasing. Start to look like, wait, maybe I'm actually just an animal on a farm, or at least being treated like one, right? When I could go be free, right? I saw a farm and there were like all these cows and they're eating out of the trough. And they're all just lined up and they got their heads in there. And I realized that that's conditioning. That is the system telling teaching those cows, right? Those animals, through generations, that is how they get their food. They become comfortable with it, complacent with it. We do the same. As opposed to free range cows or animals or livestock or whatever, feral even, right? Get to go be in the wild. They learn to provide for themselves, when in reality nature provides for them, that divinity, right? The natural provides for them. And they have all they could ever need. Well, the system does the same to us. We are lined up and we are fed from the trough. And we are told that as long as we have a comfortable salary, then we should be okay. Right? And that anything that tells us otherwise, mentally, spiritually, anything that tells us otherwise is a foe. It's an illness. It's a disease. Anything that tells you to turn away from this illusion of a reality is a disease. And I've talked about this in previous videos. I'm not even sure if I've uploaded. Because honestly, I just record these to kind of get my thoughts out. And I might go back and watch it and be like, oh, okay, I was just kind of like ranting, and I might not even put it out, right? Which I probably should stop doing. I should just let the message come and then put it out. But I talk about in previous videos that this is damn near the Garden of Eden still, right? It will provide for us if we allow it to. Earth will provide for us. But we allow the system to provide for us, and we get stuck on it, and we get latched to it, and we stay within it. And then we accept that there's something wrong with us when we want to turn away from it. And there's not. And that breeds fear, it breeds insecurity. Because then you have people that either are having that experience and they don't want to share it with anyone because they don't want to be labeled as such and such, right? It's whatever mental illness or any of the other negative derogatory things that we put on people when they say, hey, this is not the system I want to be a part of. It causes me distress. You're crazy. Right? That's what they'll tell you. And it's not true. A lot of people are stuck in it and they don't want to think of a way out of it. Or they never question it. And when you bring up your own awareness and the fact that your spirit is no longer in alignment with whatever it is that you're experiencing in the system, and that your spirit's telling you to do something differently, those people that have not had that awakening, they can't perceive what it is you're experiencing, right? And so they want to put you in a box, because if they can put you in a box within the system, then it all makes sense. Then it's like, oh, okay, well, that person was just experiencing that, and the system tells us that that's mental illness, and as long as it's mental illness, then whatever they're talking about is just blah, blah, blah. It's crazy. I don't have to listen to it, and there's no reason for me to doubt my situation, because if I start doubting my situation, I got a lot of programming to undo, and I'm not willing to do the work that it's going to take to undo that programming. That creates an issue, because then people don't share those experiences. They don't open up about how Source is communicating with them or providing them with opportunities to be more in alignment with nature and to be more free and to walk away from the system without fear of how they're going to get their next meal or how they're going to live their life in abundance. And when they don't share those experiences, we don't get the opportunity, the rest of society doesn't get the opportunity to see that that's a real thing and that it's happening on a mass level, on a mass scale, right, to a lot of people. We don't see that. So we keep doing the same thing, okay? Right? Imagine one of the cows, imagine a few hundred of the cows go to the majority and they say, I mean, this is getting out there, but communicate to the rest of the herd that there is a free-range field over here where no one can tell us what to do, where they have no control over us, where we can go and be free, and all that we need is provided for us. The herd's not really going to understand until they step out and they see that, right? It goes back to like the cave analogy. I'm sure you're familiar with it. If not, look it up, right? Was it Plato's cave analogy? And so then even beyond that, right, the farmer is going to be pissed, and the farmer, in our case, the system, is going to step in and say, no, that's not allowed. But can the system really stop you? Right? And that's where faith comes in. Because you think the system can stop you, but if you step out beyond that fear and you take the opportunity anyway, typically you'll find that faith will lead you and that the system cannot stop you. So how do you overcome the fear? How do you overcome these labels? How do you accept your own divine, your own divinity, your own spirit, your intuition? Allow it to guide you without reverting back to fear. It's a process. I wish I could tell you that there's an instant cure for it, but there isn't. There are a lot of things that you can incorporate into your life that will make it better over time, but there is no immediate cure. Because again, what it is acclimation. So you enter awareness. That awareness lasts as long as you're able to stay in alignment. And then once you fall out of alignment because the universe is trying to send you to a higher level of experience and you're not ready for it, then you go back into fear. Right? You go back into the training grounds, spiritually. I've been there. So what happens, or what you can do, let me say what you can do, is you can recognize that. Recognize it. It doesn't have to be a foreign experience. It doesn't have to be this overwhelming experience. It can be like, okay, I'm getting in the groove now. I can kind of see the signs. I woke up today in a bad mood. I do not know why, but I feel negativity all over me, right? If you wake up like that. So someone wakes up in that. If they wake up in that, that can kind of serve as a clue to like, okay, Spirit's about to try me. This day is going to be trying. It's a trial. It's my opportunity to get to that higher level again, but I got some things I got to overcome. So they step out, and it goes back to the universe checking you and giving you those tests. And so as you go throughout your day, that fear is going to be trying to cling to you. It's going to be trying to incite negative moods, negative perceptions. If you allow it to succeed, you'll have more days like that. If you can overcome them by just being loving, putting out positivity, and just trying to maintain balance in who you are, right? Look for the good in everything. Look for the positivity in everything. If you're running late to work, it was a way for the universe to prevent you from getting into a wreck, right? You spill your coffee, but you end up having a conversation with somebody you would have never had a conversation with as they go to hand you a napkin, like, congratulations on a new connection. Okay? So see the positivity in everything. Try to. It's not easy. I get that. Been there. Right? I go through it. But that's one of the things you can do. Meditation helps as well. And the reason meditation helps is because it helps you put aside all the negative thoughts, all of the disarray that's in your mind, and become aligned with the present and offer yourself the opportunity to make those subtle changes that are needed throughout your day for you to ascend or for you to acclimate to the next level. Because a lot of the times what's happening is we're carrying around that negative programming and we're not even questioning it. So when new opportunities come, and I was talking about that slingshot opportunities where you can change your trajectory and where you're going, that opportunity comes, but you're stuck in your negative programming and you're apprehensive about getting out of your comfort zone, so you're not able to accept the opportunity and you miss it and you get stuck in the negativity. If you meditate and you start to actually differentiate between, okay, this is the positive voice in my head, this is my spirit, this is my intuition, the rest of that is noise and interference from whatever other opposition or just my own past trauma, right? All that stuff's built up in here, and I have to differentiate between that and between what is actually leading me to a better place. When you do that, you take the time to get to know yourself internally, then when those opportunities come, you can get on them faster, right? And that's going to increase the speed at which you're able to acclimate to your new experiences, to that next level. Right? So even now, like, I am taking in a lesson right now. I'm taking in a lesson right now. As I speak, and I'm channeling this message. I didn't really have all this prepared. It's just coming to me in this new level of awareness that I'm attempting to reach, right? So I notice that as I speak, the universe is kind of teaching me to slow down, to not worry about what I'm going to say, as much as just listening and taking in the message and allowing it to become its own thing, right? Allowing it to grow for myself and for you. So I notice that when I get ahead of myself, or if I start to worry about, well, wait a minute, what's the next word I was gonna, what am I trying to say here? My head gets jumbled with all these different words, and none of them are what I want to say. But when I slow down, I just stop. I stop fighting, I stop resisting, I stop trying to allow my ego to take control. Right? I stop allowing my ego to take control. Then the words are just provided. They just come naturally. I don't have to think. I don't have to think. Right? So meditation helps. learning to hear that voice in the most positive way possible, putting aside the negative, will put you in alignment with better opportunities. As you take those better opportunities, you'll feel better about yourself. You'll feel better at getting out of your comfort zone, and it'll become more natural for you. And then you can get into flow with spirit, with divinity, with source. Right? Another thing you can do is gradually introduce new habits into your life. Gradually. Right? Try that food you never tried. Try taking a walk at a park you've never been to, or going on a hike in a new part of the city, whatever, right? Vice versa. Walk in a new part of the city, or a hike at a park, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Volunteer. Pursue new things. Because sometimes we can get confused about what we're in alignment with and what is actually what our spirit is attuned with. Right? Because we don't have that esoteric knowledge of how to attune our spirits or how to listen to our spirits clearly. So doing new things gives you more opportunities to say, okay, wait a minute. When I got up out of the bed today, I didn't feel as well as I thought I would. I went out into nature or volunteered or I did whatever, Spirit kind of told me to do. My intuition told me to take this new opportunity. I stepped out, I did it. Now, take into account how you feel, right? So one of those new habits you can introduce is journaling or recording, right? Somehow document how you feel, how certain experiences make you feel. Well, in that, you will come to find that certain experiences make you more anxious. Certain experiences make you very much so more comfortable. Right? So when you do certain things, like for instance, when I record and I get these thoughts out loud, I notice that I don't have negative thoughts brewing in my head. I can just kind of listen and channel messages of positivity and understanding and growth. And that makes me feel more comfortable. It makes my day easier. Because for whatever reason, my spirit, source energy, wants me to put this message out there. Right? And the more I resist that, the more I have to hear negativity, or the more I'm going to go through negativity, because I'm resisting the path that Spirit is providing. So how can Spirit provide for me, or you, any of us, right? I'm going to change my channel name to the Infinite We, because that's all there is. There's you and me. The Infinite We, right? But anyway, how can Spirit provide for us if we are constantly resisting and fighting to provide for ourselves? I heard a story once, a parable, a metaphor for the man that's drowning. He's at sea and he's drowning. He's like, God will send me a lifeboat. God will rescue me. I guess that's what he said. God will rescue me. And then a boat comes along. And they're like, hey, we'll save you. And he's like, no, God's going to save me. And the boat passes. Right? And that happens multiple times until he ends up drowning. And like in the afterlife, he asks God, well, I thought you were going to save me. He's like, I sent you boats. I sent the boats. You didn't take the boats, right? And so to correlate that to what I'm saying, without like don't dig too deep into the meaning of God or any of that, I'm just giving you a metaphor of like how the universe will try to provide for you, but because we are so caught up in what our understanding of this is what I need, this is what will be provided, we miss out on what the universe is trying to provide for us. Right? So we pick up all these different things from the system, these labels, and we try to accept what the system is telling us about ourselves. And Spirit's like, I'm telling you what's going on. I'm telling you what to do. I'm telling you how to fix it, how to be free, how to fall in love with yourself, right? And you're listening is the wrong thing. You're trying to provide meaning, or allowing the system to provide meaning for you. And you're not picking up on all of these rescue boats that Spirit's sending you. You're not picking up on the pathway Spirit's sending you and telling you, go, be free, right? Like, listen, you know? And that manifests in so many ways, right? A lot of people want their dream job, dream house, dream car, but they don't step out on faith to get it. Instead, they rely on the system, and they're like, well, the system told me I cannot get this house or this car without a 900 credit score, 800 credit score, right? I'm using hyperbole. Without an 800 credit score, right? So they don't believe that they can do it, and then Spirit's like whispering to you, telling you you can have it. Take a chance. Apply for the loan, right? And again, don't dig too deeply into this because it's just an example. I'll clear it up here in a second. But we still are hesitant or resistant toward that voice that's telling us, go for it, try it. And so in that, and this is the way that I know the Spirit works, it can get a little tricky. Again, I'm still giving you ideas and tips on how to overcome fear, because the more you understand how this system operates and then how Spirit operates, the more you can see this in your own experience and say, oh, okay, this is what's happening, right? I'm going back from that awareness state to fear state. I'm going from fear to awareness. And then eventually you find balance. So before I go into like how Spirit is working, well, before I go into balance, let me finish this thought. So you go and, let's say, apply for that dream car, dream house, and you don't get the loan, right? You might not get approved because, again, that's coming from the system. The system is telling you whether or not you are worthy for these things that you want. All right. So Spirit will sometimes set you up to experience that, to say, go pursue those man-made things. Go pursue that in the system that you've been serving, or, you know, that man-made system, and see if it provides for you. And sometimes the system will let you down, but that's Spirit's intention. Spirit wants you to experience that, so that when Spirit lifts you up and it says that wasn't the way, you don't need a $100,000 Mercedes-Benz, because that's not going to make you happy. It's not going to resolve the internal issues. But because now you can see that clearly, or hopefully you can, then Spirit will provide you with that $5,000 car, right? And that $5,000 car will then provide you with the opportunity to transport yourself to new opportunities, to where you can grow and become better and gain more understanding. And then maybe you do get to that $100,000 car, or maybe you come to an understanding that you never needed it in the first place, and now you are having better experiences with less, right? So it's a roundabout way, and Spirit has a roundabout way of showing you what you need. It literally, I believe the Spirit will tell you directly what you need, but again, when you get into that resistant mindset, it'll give you the roundabouts. And it'll say, okay, you think that's what you need here. And it will let you get those things only for you to end up back where you were, so that it can say, okay, let's try this again. This is the way. It will give it to you again. And then once you're attuned and aligned, you can accept it. You're more willing to accept it. And then you find yourself in a better place anyway. Right? Right? And we miss that sometimes. Right? Sometimes we get caught up in that lower vibrational thinking, like, oh man, I didn't get the $100,000 car, I gotta ride around in this hoopty. It's like, no, that was the universe blessing you and keeping you out of debt, so that you're not indebted to a society that doesn't care about you. You're not worried about paying off loans that you didn't need in the first place to actually fulfill yourself and to be happy. It's craziness. But as far as even needing those things in the first place, it's just like, it stems from this society telling you that you lack, that you don't have enough, that you're not enough. And we think we need other things to make us enough, and we are enough, right? But anyway, going back to balance. So, as you go from that awareness state to the fear state, you're basically, it's going to start off in the early stages of your awakening. It's going to be very extreme, because you're going to get a bit of an eye opener, and then you're going to basically shut your eyes because it's almost too much. So you're going to go here and then way back to where you were, right? Or even further back. And so as that continues to happen to you, and you acclimate more and more to the process and the understanding, and you get more and more in alignment with awareness, then eventually those swings are less, right? So there's less depressive states, there's less anger, there's less isolation, there's more opportunities to meet new people and to get connected and to feel social and to be fulfilled and to feel happiness and to not have to work as hard for the things you want, because they just seem to like magically manifest in your life. And I believe that sometimes you delay that process by doing things like listening to doctors, and they put a label on you, and then they want to shove medications in your face, right? Again, that's a system. Those people went to college, they're indebted to the system now, and in order to satisfy their debt to the system, have to put a label on you and prescribe you with medication so that you become a recurring patient and pay them, or your insurance pays them, or whatever, so that they can pay off their debt to the system. Okay? Sometimes we miss that part. It's like, now there are good practitioners out there, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the time you're getting generic treatment because to them you're an opportunity to pay a debt. And if they're not in alignment with spirit and they're more a part of the system, they can't tell you what you're experiencing. To them, you're just another anomaly that needs to be fixed, as opposed to being a vessel for spirit and divinity that's trying to not only open your own eyes, but their eyes as well, right? So when you listen to these doctors and you get labeled and you get prescribed medication or whatever the treatment is, you can almost sometimes put yourself back into that swing of awareness and fear states, because the medication is not natural and it can sometimes hinder your growth. So what you'll notice, I even had an experience like this, where you'll notice that the medications they're prescribing you, the side effects are worse than what you were experiencing originally. And I don't believe that that's on purpose, but it's become a part of the system to which and these things manifest because we're giving our energy to a negative system. These things manifest to where the prescriptions have worse side effects than the symptoms they are intended to treat. And unintentionally or intentionally, whichever, for some, right, depending on the practitioner you see, you end up becoming a patient that goes back over and over again because you become addicted to these medications, or because your symptoms become increasingly worse because of the side effects of the medication. So now you need another medication to fix the medication that you took before, to fix the side effects, the symptoms of the medication itself. So now you need a cure for the cure, right? When if you were actually just able to sit with yourself and find understanding, and you had somebody positive around you to say, hey, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just going through an awakening, you're going through a process of seeing that this reality is not for you, and you're going to have to manifest some whole other shit to be happy. You're going to have to manifest something completely different to be happy. You're going to have to realize that all of the power necessary to build the life you want to live is within you, and you don't have to live under the rules that are currently existing. You don't have to. They tell us that we are made in the image of a God, but then tell us to serve a system. If God made all things, what is God serving? God is serving his own desire to create. His necessity, the necessity to create. That is what we are supposed to do. That is our purpose, to serve the necessity to create. We are the fingers of the source, right? We are supposed to go out, have experiences, and create even better experiences, okay? But we get labeled by the system, we get indoctrinated by the system, we stay within the system, we don't go out and create our own rules, we live by rules that were created hundreds of years ago. And now we have such a convoluted system, we don't even have the opportunity to really get within the system and change those rules. Right? But that's what we have to do. And as we become more awake as a collective, we will do that. We will eventually get there. But for you as the individual, your step in that process is to accept your awakening and to start changing the rules within your own life, and to stop allowing people to label you, and to stop seeing that there's something wrong with you. Stop feeling like there's something wrong with you. Stop labeling yourself with labels that are man-made. Stop saying, oh, this person thinks that about me, it must be true. You're not socially awkward, you're not weird, you're not crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. You are either A, around a group of people that do not understand you and cannot accept you because they do not understand you, or B, the universe wants you to accept yourself so that you can create an environment for other people like you, because there isn't one yet, right? So while you're walking around and you're wallowing in shame or pity or whatever it is you're experiencing because you are unable to find love within yourself, and you're like, wow, nobody loves me, I'm not feeling great about who I am as a human, why would God put me in this existence? God put you in that existence so that you can so that you can facilitate the reality necessary for other people like you to come into, to feel like they are loved. You are the manifestation of that love for someone else that feels just like you. And until you can acclimate to your soul's purpose and accept your divinity, that reality doesn't exist. And there's 100,000 to 1,000,000 people that feel just like you, that have no place to go and no one to make them feel cherished, loved, and cared for, because you will not cherish, love, and care for yourself. And you will not allow that reality to manifest within you and without you, around you, right? When I say without you, I say that meaning within, so without, right? If you do not manifest the love within yourself, then there is someone outside of you in need of that is not getting it, because you will not allow it to manifest within yourself, so it cannot manifest outside of you. So we have to stop taking on these labels. What I was trying to say before was that I had an experience where I went to get a medication to help me sleep. I was having a very difficult time sleeping. I was getting like maybe 2 hours of sleep a night. And otherwise I'd be dealing with thoughts or just insomnia and just unable to be comfortable, right? Well, the doctor prescribes me the sleeping medication, and then on top of that tries to tell me that there's a slew of other things that could be wrong with me because I can't sleep. Well, maybe I should diagnose you with this and prescribe you this and this and this. And I'm like, dude, I just need help sleeping. I just want to sleep. There's not really anything else wrong. I'm extraordinarily functional. And still, because that's the business, right? So whether or not they're aware of it as a practitioner, that is the business model. It's like, yeah, you just need help sleeping, but hey, once you're sleeping, you're gonna take this one medication, you sleep a little bit better, and then you won't come back to me, and I don't get to make all the money I would off the appointments. I got bills to pay, and so there's gotta be something else wrong with you. Come on, you know? And I'm like, no. So I get on the sleeping pills, right? I even allowed them to convince me that I should try other medications. And as I'm taking the other medications and the sleeping pills, I only start to feel worse. I only feel worse. My judgment is clouded. I feel more negative about who I am as a person. All kind of things start to ensue. And then gradually, I notice that I just walk away from the medications. Bit by bit, right? I stop taking this one, I stop taking that one, whatever. And I start to feel better. Except for the sleeping pills. I had some apprehension because I was like, no, if I stop taking these sleeping pills, they're finally allowing me to get a little more sleep. The funny thing was, they weren't even really letting me get more sleep. They were working as a sedative, which would allow me to fall asleep faster, but I would still wake up every 2 hours. And sometimes I'd even wake up in a worse mood because they were also having this weird side effect where they would give me like terrible dreams or just make me have a very uncomfortable sleep. And then I'd have to take more, and in taking more, I found out that it makes you sick in your gut, it makes you sick in your intestines, and you become constipated, and you become ill in other places when you were just trying to have a good night's sleep. I was just trying to sleep, right? So now I not only need the one doctor to give me the sleeping pills, now I gotta go get 2 more doctors because I gotta figure out what's wrong with me because the sleeping pills are making me sick. So I keep hearing Spirit tell me, let go of the sleeping pills, right? And you'll sleep fine. Stop taking the sleeping pills and start sleeping fine. Because that period of not sleeping was necessary for me to even be able to deliver this message to you, because I had to go through those experiences of not sleeping so that I would go into the system for answers. The system would try to provide me answers only to show me that the answers it can provide me are limited by human knowledge, and human knowledge sometimes cannot tell you what's going on with you because there are greater things out here. There are greater things at play. And because there are greater things at play, sometimes we have to go through those experiences to find true understanding. And I found true understanding in that. That helped me with my spiritual growth. Because I found out that I don't need to rely on man-made solutions. That I simply need to listen to my internal voice, right? And that when things are going wrong, sometimes it's to lead me on a journey of understanding. Now I sleep great, right? I'm even finding out now, so now I'm on a whole different part of that journey where now I left all those medications alone, stopped seeing that doctor. I feel 10 times better, right? I feel extraordinarily better. If I were to show you where I was previously, and some of you were a part of this channel previously, I took those videos down because they were reminding me of a negative place where I was, and how can I escape that negativity if I'm constantly putting it into the universe, right? So I had to take that stuff down so that I could build a new me for me. If you were to see where I came from, and some of you have, right, I think you would agree with me that I am 10 times better, right? I feel better. I feel more confident. I feel happier. I find it easier to be happy these days, right? And I just say all that to say that, like, sometimes you'll find yourself in a situation where somebody's saying there's something wrong with you, but you don't know what's wrong with them. We are mirrors. We're projecting onto each other constantly. Stop thinking there's something wrong with you. Be you. Get clarity so that you can understand who you are. And once you understand who you are, you can walk in divinity. You can walk in who you are. You can walk in what you were meant to be, right? Peace. Freedom. Acceptance. That's my message. That's what I'm feeling right now, you know? I wanted to get that across. So if you are someone that's going through something like that and you're not sure what to do, right? If you feel hindered, if you feel like you are at the end, right? If you are just like so stressed out or so burdened by your experience and you do not know what move to make, talk to me. Get in touch with me. You know, send me a message in the comments, right? Get in the comments and give me time to get back to you. Okay? If you're on Instagram, you can add me. My Instagram is at 100 perspectives. That's 100 perspectives. You can add me. You can message me. And I'm just going to be open to listening, right? To hearing what you have going on. And I'm just going to I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to try to allow Source to speak more so and allow you to be a mirror for yourself. I want to be a mirror for you so that you can bounce what you have going on off of me, and then hopefully we can channel from a higher dimensional perspective what it is that you're missing or what it is that you need to pick up on so that you can feel better. And when I say missing, I mean what is it that you're not perceiving? Because you have everything you need. You are everything that you need to be. But there might be something you're not perceiving that's holding you back. So get in touch with me in the comments. Be a part of the channel. I want you to be a part of my journey. I want to be a part of your journey. And I feel like we can really, day by day, change each other's lives. And by changing each other's lives, we can gradually change the world that we are a part of. As a collective. Thank you. Love you. See you in the next one.